Lastly, understand that if we take this number out even further, if we don't do these things, and let me tell you, none of these things that I'm proposing is going to be a picnic to get through the state legislature. You can be sure that every special interest public sector union who cares only about themselves and isn't caring about the better and greater general public will stand up against that. You're going to be able to judge who's really standing up for the public or not based upon how they react to this. Because as I'm laying these things out for you, I see a lot of nodding heads in the audience. This is not hard stuff to understand. This is common sense. We could make it hard, and I'm sure that that's what those who will oppose this will try to do. They'll try to confuse it and make it difficult. But you all understand this because you're all out there planning for your retirement. You understand if you have a 401k or IRA or some combination of those, that you're out there, first in the private sector, nobody offering you pensions. Okay? Right? Secondly, that when you're planning for your own retirement, you know it's money in, money out. And what performance I have, it's not like you can say, well, geez, my fund didn't do as well as I thought it would. And we know that's happened in the last few years. Can someone come and give me some more money so I can retire at the level that I became accustomed? That's what this system, as set up now, is asking you to do. It's saying things didn't go as well. I was probably expecting more than was realistic for me to get. So instead of taking less, I say, you pay me more. You give me more out of your pocket. We simply can't ask that of folks, especially right now, people in New Jersey who have a 9.6% unemployment rate, who are worried about saving their homes, who are worried about what the future of their children and grandchildren are going to be, how they're going to pay for education, how they're going to make a better life here in this state, how can they afford to stay here. Can't ask people to do that. And so that's half the equation. The second half of the equation, which will be a little bit quicker to go through, is health benefits. Yeah. Hey, there you go. Little excitement from the lady in the pink in front. All right. Listen, we have an out-of-control benefit system for public employees in New Jersey as well. And to give you a sense of what we're talking about here, the average federal employee pays about 34% of the cost of their health care every year. In New Jersey, the average public worker pays on average 8%. 8% of the cost of their health care. Now, we cannot sustain this. You might remember this spring, we worked with the legislature and I helped to push through some pension and benefit reforms for new employees, people who would join the state's employ after May of this past year. And one of the things we asked for was for every public employee, no matter what governmental entity you were employed by, to contribute at least 1.5% of their salary to the cost of their health benefits. It was a fight to get that through. And think about this in context. For the average school teacher in New Jersey, most of whom, by the way, still do not pay anything, zero for full family health insurance. And by the way, not just while they're employed, but for the rest of their lives. This year alone, the state of New Jersey pays $850 million in our budget just for retiree health benefits. $850 million just for that. Now, we asked those people to make a 1.5% contribution. The argument you heard most vociferously from the teachers union was, this is the greatest assault on public education in the history of New Jersey. Okay, listen, I think we got a pretty good track record here of my relationship with the teachers union. So, I mean, remember, this is the group that prayed for me to die. So, you know, to say that we're not on the best terms at the moment probably would be an understatement. But consider this for a second. Just think about the logic of that one statement. That asking teachers to contribute 1.5% of their salary to pay for their health benefits is the greatest assault on public education in the history of New Jersey. All right. I got to tell you something. Sure, all of you have or have had children in school. Do you really think that your child is now stressed out and unable to learn because they know that their poor teacher has to pay 1.5% of their salary for their health benefits? Has any of your children come home, have any of them come home and said to you, Mom, Dad, please, just pay for my teacher's health benefits and I'll get A's, I swear. But I cannot take the stress that's being presented by a 1.5% contribution to health benefits. Now, you're all laughing, right? This is the crap I have to hear. This is for real. This is the argument that they are, I'm not making it up, they are entitled to free health benefits. Entitled. And so now let's move to what we really need to do. 1.5% to health benefits was just the beginning. Because what we need to do is to get to something that's more realistic and affordable. So let me start by saying, I believe that the state and local governments and boards of education have an obligation to provide for health insurance for their employees. Question is, who pays how much? Because remember, every one of those dollars comes from you. And so, when you are concerned about property taxes, when you're concerned about income taxes, when you're concerned about the sales tax, when you're concerned about all those things, this is where it goes. This is where it goes. And so, let's talk about it. What we are going to propose is that for all active employees, we transition between now and 2014, so over the next 4 years, we transition to a system where the employer pays 70% of the costs of health insurance and the employee pays 30% of the cost of that coverage. Now, even that number pales in comparison to the reality of what's happening in private sector employment right now, not to mention the fact that it's still below what federal employees pay. And I speak from personal experience because before I had this job, I was a federal employee for 7 years as the United States Attorney. And I can tell you I was paying that 34%. And the deal I have now, thank you very much. It's quite a deal you're all giving me right now. And I am happy to give it up because we can't afford it. Second, we should switch to a system which is used by the federal government and almost all states. 47 of the 50 states and the federal government use a system where the employee pays a percentage of the premium rather than a percentage of their salary. Now, why is this important? It's important because of two things. First, it greater reflects what's going on in the marketplace. As premiums go up, you have to share in a greater percentage of that. Your salary may not go up, and in this economy certainly isn't going up as rapidly as the cost of benefits are going up. So if you just keep it at percentage of salary, and benefits are going up at 2 or 3 or 4 times that, you can see how we begin to fall back underwater again. Secondly, it gives all public employees skin in the game. What I mean by that is this. Let me tell you about my experience when I signed up for my health insurance as a new state employee, sitting in the transition office in Trenton, getting ready to become governor. Now, I will grant you that I probably got a little more personal attention than the normal state employee who's signing up for their benefits. But someone came over from the benefits office and sat down with me and said, the state offers 3 plans. And she went over the 3 plans with me. She said, but everybody picks this plan because it's the best one. And you pay 1.5% of your salary no matter what. So why would you buy one of the cheaper plans if you could get it, the better plan, for exactly the same price? Well, I suspect that if they're saying that to the governor-elect, that conversation is being replicated all across government. And it makes sense. If I came up to you tomorrow and said, listen, I can give you a benefit system that gives you a $10 copay for anything you want to go get, that reimburses you for whatever doctor you want to go to, and you pay, for the average teacher, $750 a year for that. Or you can get a system where the copay is 5 times more than that. You can only go to certain doctors, and your reimbursement isn't as big. Which would you like to have? You take the first one. Once again, another bright, logical New Jerseyan. He's going to take the more expensive plan. So by making it a percentage of premium, when you offer those different plans, people can make their priority choice. Maybe a 23-year-old state employee might say to him or herself, you know what? I'm probably not getting sick. I'm probably not going to need to go to the doctor, if at all, more than once a year. Why should I pay for this big Cadillac plan that's going to take 30% of that big premium out of my salary when I could pay for a cheaper HMO plan, for instance, that would cover me if I had a catastrophic illness or injury? It would take care of me if I needed to be taken care of. But at 23, I probably won't need it. And I could pay significantly less for that. That will make a difference in what plan you pick. It will also make a difference in how frequently you utilize the doctor. You know, if you have a higher copay and you have more skin in the game, you maybe not go to the doctor every time you have a sniffle. Maybe you go when you really feel like you need to go. We all make those judgments, and you make them right now with your children or yourself. Yeah, if it looks like it's just a cold, and I have 4 kids, it's like it's just a cold, you deal with it. If it looks like it's starting to get something more serious, then you take them to the doctor. If it's really emergent, you take them to the emergency room. But you don't go every time to the doctor unless you're not paying anything for it. And then what the heck's the difference? So it gives people some more skin in the game. We also need to provide more options for people. Right now, there's only 3 options, as I told you. For most public employees, they pick one. There's really one option. It's a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. It's really nice, and it's really expensive, and they pick it. We need to provide a broader set of options so that people can really, under this new system, make a choice that's best for them. For instance, and I'm not advocating this, but the federal government, and this is, of course, only the federal government could do this, but when I sat down with a different benefits person when I became a federal employee, 260 options I had. Numbed by the options. Numbed by the options. I think we can find someplace, in the middle between 3, which is really only 1, and 260. But we should provide people with more options. One thing Governor Corzine did, which is stunning to me, is we have the State Employee Health Benefit Plan, which I just told you is the one I'm in, which is great. What Governor Corzine did was create something called the School Employee Health Benefit Plan. This was called Merry Christmas NJEA. This plan is even richer than the one I have. I have a $15 copay. Teachers, $10. It's called the NJ Direct 10 plan. In our proposal, that would be eliminated. There's no reason for that. There's no reason for any set of public employees to have a different or better plan. And we need to make sure that all of these changes deal with things like copays and the other things, and they also deal with health benefits for retirees. Because understand something. Our health benefit plan right now is underfunded at $67 billion. $67 billion. Without this type of immediate action, costs are going to increase by more than 40% over the next 4 years. And that cost will be passed on to you. There's no one else to pay for it if we don't have employees start stepping up to the plate and paying more themselves.